When you commit to regularly publishing new episodes, you'll show that you're reliable and that you can deliver results. That's how you build a personal connection, trust, and credibility in your new role.
Introducing Recorded Content, a podcast for small, scrappy B2B marketing teams who want to get the most out of podcasting. In each episode, we capture stories from industry experts and podcasters. Listen in and uncover what it takes to launch, run, and grow a successful B2B podcast. Check out and subscribe to the show on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. Let's jump in.
Hey, I'm Tristan. I'm the co-founder of Motion and your host for this episode of Recorded Content. This show is brought to you by my company, Motion. We are a done-for-you podcast agency for small, scrappy B2B tech marketers. As a marketer, you want to stand out in the first few months after taking on a new role. You want to gain the trust of your new teammates and demonstrate your capabilities to leadership. But there's a lot to do in a short period of time. At Motion, we produce shows for tech companies. We run nearly 50 shows right now. And we traditionally work with small, scrappy, in-house marketing teams. Over the last few years, we've interacted with quite a bit of marketers who are brand new to their roles. And when taking on a new role, we've witnessed a lot of new things that you have to learn. If you're new to the industry, then in many ways, you're starting from scratch. You have to understand your customer, understand the problem your company solves, and then determine how your company is different from the other alternatives that are out there. And even if you've been involved in your particular industry for a while, there are still a ton of things to learn as you adapt to a new company. You have to build a personal relationship with management, understand how the different teams work together, and determine the best ways to communicate with your own team. In your first 90 days, there's a lot to cover, but there's one thing that can help speed up the process: starting a podcast. As a podcast agency, we've seen firsthand the positive impact a successful podcast can have on an entire organization, but it can also have a positive impact on you as a brand new marketer. The first benefit of starting a podcast as a new marketer is that you get to capture customer insights. If you're a B2B marketer, any type of marketer, honestly, one of the most valuable things you can do is talk to your customers. It's the best way to get feedback about your products or your services and to find out what people really want. But it's not always easy to get information from customers or even potential customers. And it's harder to have genuine conversations with them. That's where your company's own podcast comes in. One of the biggest benefits of starting a podcast is having a reason to reach out to your customers and have real conversations with them. And as a newcomer to your organization, the business's podcast provides a conduit between you and your company's customers. It gives you the fast track to customer insights without having to set up a formal survey or another customer research project. And most importantly, gathering customer insights in your first few months will help define your own priorities. The feedback you get from a podcast conversation can help reinforce the marketing plan, provide quality content ideas, and get everyone on the marketing team aligned. You also get to meet other industry players and influencers. In any industry, there are always people who stand out amongst their peers. They have more knowledge, more experience, and more connections. These are the professionals who get featured at conferences, give keynotes, and appear on the industry's best podcasts. These people are called influencers, and they can be a great resource for you as you're starting out in your new marketing role. One of the best ways to meet influencers is to start a podcast for your company. When you interview someone on your show, they'll automatically view you as a peer. And when you produce a podcast episode with these types of professionals, it helps solidify your own position within the industry. That's how you grow your audience, grow your company's audience, build more brand awareness, and get exposed to new people in the industry. You also get to build relationships with partners. When you start out in a new marketing role, it's important to really get a grasp of your company's entire ecosystem. When working for a B2B tech company, your organization probably collaborates with a lot of different partners. Your company may have formal channel partners in place, or you may have other informal partnerships that help provide customers with more comprehensive solutions. Partnerships are a big part of any business serving customers, and you need to get familiar with partners as soon as you can. With a podcast, you get a chance to collaborate with your company's partners. Some of the most common ways to integrate partners in podcast episodes are through live events, roundtable discussions, or interviews. The most successful podcasts put a spotlight on your partners, demonstrate a commitment to serving customers, and open the doors to co marketing opportunities. As a new member of your company, you get to build rapport with the leadership team. B2B marketers understand the importance of involving leadership when creating content. But when you're new to a company, it can be tough to build relationships with the people in charge. They're busy, they have a lot on their plate, and they might not even know who you are. This makes it difficult to get them involved with any type of long form content creation. Can you imagine asking your CEO for a 2,000 word blog post in the first 4 weeks of starting? One way to break through the barrier is to focus on podcast content. Since a podcast has a lot of visibility to those on the outside, it does give you a chance to build relationships with the leaders on the inside. A podcast is also a very efficient way to collaborate with your company's leadership to create audio, written, and video content. When you interview the leaders of your company on your show, they'll get to know you and your work. And when you make good use of their time and then position them as a thought leader in the industry, you gain their respect. You also get to build relationships with other people in your organization who are not even on your team. When starting a marketing role, it's not just the people in charge that you need to build relationships with. It's also the people who are not on your team. These are the people who can help you get things done and who can give you insights into other parts of the company. One way to build these relationships is to get other team members involved with your company's podcast. Interviews are one way to get direct support from other teams, but you can also use the business's podcast as a way to collaborate with others too. When you start a podcast, talk with other teams and get their feedback on episode topics, different podcast guests, and different formats that you can use. Successful podcasters seek out the insights from others and realize how it helps them as a marketer. Rather than pushing your own ideas right away, you get a chance to solicit feedback from others in your company and demonstrate how well you listen. The relationships you build with this process and with other team members can help you out down the line when you need different types of support for the marketing team. You can also demonstrate your ability to deliver consistently. When you're new to a job, it can be hard to prove yourself. You might not have a lot of past experience with your role, or you might be new to the industry. And many folks within the organization may not know the type of work you've done in the past or what you're capable of. One way to prove yourself is to start a podcast and deliver episodes consistently. Podcasts aren't easy to create. And when you create a video podcast, there's a lot involved. But if you can launch one episode and then pull off consistent production of great content, you immediately put yourself in a great position within the company. And video podcasts give you a chance to produce audio, video, and written content based on genuine conversations. After releasing 3 to 4 podcast episodes, you look like a marketing superhero. When you commit to regularly publishing new episodes, you'll show that you're reliable and that you can deliver results. That's how you build a personal connection, trust, and credibility in your new role. You'll also identify your own weaknesses and can build new skills. When you're new to a job, it's normal to feel like you're not good enough. You might feel like you lack industry knowledge or need additional skills to be successful with your new role. One way to speed up the process to acquiring industry knowledge and building new skills is with the production of a podcast. By interviewing people who are more knowledgeable than you, you'll identify gaps, but at the same time, you'll start to acquire new knowledge to help with your own marketing projects. And since video podcasts have so many different types of components, you can work on the development of new skills as well. For instance, do you want to be a better video editor? Do you want to become a better writer? Or perhaps do you want to learn how to repurpose video content into other formats? All these are types of questions that you can answer by producing a podcast. If there's a marketing skill you want to improve, chances are starting a podcast can help you get better. Identify what you want to work on for personal reasons, and then collaborate with others to get the podcast launched. And the last benefit, you can build your very own personal brand. Your personal brand is the way that people perceive you. It's what makes you unique and sets you apart from other people in your field. Building a personal brand can mean you never have to apply for a job again. Producing a podcast for your company is a great way to build your own personal brand. If you host the show, you get a chance to put yourself out there and build relationships. You get to be on video and are a core part of the marketing of your company. But even if you're not the podcast host, you get a chance to capitalize on the show's content. As the in-house producer, you have access to all the content produced from the show, and you can share a lot of the content on social with your own perspectives. When you put yourself out there and share your ideas with the world, you'll attract attention from the right people. And if you do it well, you'll establish yourself as an expert in your field. If you're in the early stages of your new marketing role, there isn't a better idea than starting a podcast, in my opinion. A podcast can help you connect with people when starting your new marketing job. The show helps build relationships, prove yourself to be reliable and competent, identify weaknesses and build new skills, and start to establish your personal brand. And those are just the personal reasons. On the company side, you get a lot of the marketing benefits. Everything from building more brand awareness to enhancing your digital marketing strategy and producing high quality content for your ideal customers. Well, hopefully this episode will give you some inspiration and encourage you to start a podcast yourself. That's all I have for today. Thanks for joining me on Recorded Content. I'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to Recorded Content, a show brought to you by Motion, a done-for-you podcasting agency for B2B tech marketers. We do the podcast stuff so you can focus on strategy, building brand awareness, and developing new relationships. To learn more about how you can launch and grow a podcast for your company, check out motionagency.io. Thanks for listening to Recorded Content.